Tim Carpenter is with us, the National Director of Progressive Democrats of America, pdamerica.org. Tim, welcome.
As always, Tom, thank you. Another month has passed, and we're still paying the pavement and banging on the doors. Thanks for having us over.
And you've got a national gig going on today.
Yeah, last month, the big news for everybody, to thank everybody, the listeners, and to you specifically, we were in 210 congressional district offices delivering our letter, Save Social Security, single payer, Robin Hood tax. So a week later, we're back knocking on the doors here in Washington saying we delivered the letter in your district office. Now what's going on? And we had a roundtable, what we call the PDA Progressive Roundtable, in which Keith Ellison, the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus, spent about an hour with us to really go over where we are and all of that. So we've had a really good day on the Hill.
That is marvelous. And in fact, I was over at the Hill this morning. We did an interview with Mark Pocan. Yeah,
his staffer came in and we were laughing, saying, as we're meeting right now, Mark Pocan's on Tom's show, and we're going to be at the back end of it today. So Mark's staff was with us as well to talk about the Voting Rights Amendment. Yep. We covered a lot of that as well.
Yeah, okay, that's great. And how is it going? I mean, what kind of response are you getting from these members of Congress?
The good news is that people very much want to be engaged and be a part of something that's going to move this debate. We got to get off this austerity and get on to prosperity.
Right.
What we're finding in districts where historically, if we were able to cover 75 to 100 districts, we felt very well. In less than a month, over an additional 100. People very much want to be a part of this. The question, of course, is, will the members come forward? Danny Davis out in Illinois just came back on to 676. So we've got to get our allies back on some of this legislation.
Right.
We're realistic. We know it's not going to pass. The important thing, though, is to get the co-sponsors, force these debates, and have these discussions. It's one thing to point to this legislation. It's another to build a movement. So we're here to make sure the legislation's there. Then we're also here to make sure that the movement, the outside piece, as part of the inside-outside piece. And that's growing, Tom. We had people in the streets on the Robin Hood tax up in San Francisco that were marching from Dianne Feinstein's office to Pelosi's office. So people are on the move.
That is incredible, and it's really important to point out or remind people that no political change, no genuine, meaningful, revolutionary political change has ever happened in the history of the United States without a movement driving it.
Well, if you're going to wait for Congress to do anything, it's going to really affect our lives. You're going to be waiting a long time.
That's right. pdamerica.org, by the way, is the website.
Thanks, Tom. No, we always remind folks that every great social movement, as you said, it's got to begin in the streets, going all the way back to Seneca Falls and to Rosa Parks and Dr. King. We've got to light that flame on the streets and bring it up here.
Going all the way back to Tom Paine and the crisis, and these are the times that try men's souls, Well,
if we have time, we could roll it all out. There's a rich history there.
Indeed.
Inside, outside.
Indeed, there is. So how are you doing, Tim?
I'm doing fine. I've got, we're very excited up in Los Angeles. We got an event coming up that we're very proud that you'll be joining us with Lily Tomlin. We're making plans for that.
That's
at the same
2
time,
weeks.
I've got a few medical problems that I'm dealing with that are going to require me to step back a little bit from the PDA side, but dealing with those head on and finding a lot of support for that. So I'm being challenged on 2 fronts. Make sure we have a full house for you when you get out to Los Angeles, and then I'm going to deal with some health challenges myself in the coming weeks.
And the Los Angeles thing is, it's a week from Saturday, do I have?
July 1st. I'm going to go for it right now. I'm going
June
to blanket. June 1st, excuse
June
me.
1st, yeah.
June 1st, Saturday night. Tom, you're going to be joined by Lily Tomlin. Mimi Kennedy, our national co-chair, is going to host you, along with John Nichols from The Nation magazine, and Jim Hightower is going to be coming in from Texas, the former agricultural commissioner. And we're going to have a night of celebration on that night. And we're very honored that we're going to get you outside the D.C. Beltway and back into the community of the progressive community of Los Angeles.
Wow, being on stage with Lily Tomlin. I mean, how do you and John Nichols, who gives a speech like he's the best politician who's not a politician.
Hey, you have to follow him, not me.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking, oh man, this is going to be a challenge. It's
the A team.
But okay, so how do people find out about this? pdamerica.org?
Good place to start. Go to the events page, link on right there, and all the information's right there for folks to be a part of that event.
Okay, and pdamerica.org, and that's a week from Saturday, June 1st.
June 1st, not July 1st. Yeah, thank you.
June 1st, and where is it in Los Angeles?
It's in Beverly Hills. So we're going to be in some swanky neighborhoods up in Beverly Hills.
Cool. Well, and this is a fundraiser for the movement. And again, PD America is not the Democratic Party. You got no affiliation with the Democratic Party. It's about pushing Democrats.
Dispel all of those myths that we are part of the Democratic Party. We are the insurgency. This money will go to fund our prosperity, not austerity campaign. Every month, PDA over the course of the last 2 years has organized at the grassroots level to deliver the letters that we spoke of. And now with the roundtable, we're very proud tonight. We're celebrating our 6 months. So this money helps us to allow us to get the information out there, to mobilize and make sure we're here in Washington. So it should be a great night event earlier in the day for the proletariat. That's the more high dollar one that you'll be at. There'll be another event earlier in the day for folks that might not be able to do that. So there'll be 2 events in Los Angeles. So we think we're going to throw the net out long enough that everybody can join us. So there'll be 2 great events in Los Angeles. All the information's on pdamerica.org, and we hope that people in the greater LA area can join us.
Yeah. Progressive Democrats of America, one of the genuinely independent organizations. Am I on your advisory board or on your board? I'm on some kind of a...
We've got you surrounded. I think this is your 5th year, Tom.
Okay.
You've been serving on our advisory board with...
Yes.
You've got some good luminaries up there with you from Congressman Jim McGovern, Congressmember John Conyers, Medea Benjamin on the outside, but you've been with us all the way. And
she's spectacular, Medea. We did a conversation with Great Minds last week with her.
I got a lot of hits on the media, on our social media. Your Great Mind series, that was great.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's doing great work.
Yeah. We've got to get you doing that too. It's
whenever
you got to be here on a Friday night. That's
all right. We'll see what we can do.
Organize that. So people who you said 3 issues. Are these the only 3 issues that PD America is working on? And quickly recite them again.
We encourage folks to go to the website. We're organized around what we call 7 principal issues that at the grassroots level we're driven by our grassroots. Our chapters have come together and basically prioritized. The 3 I spoke of were the focus this particular month because of the threat in regards to the prosperity, not austerity budget, but very much in addition to that, we've been very out front working with Congresswoman Barbara Lee on getting all U.S. military out of Afghanistan in a swift, orderly fashion since we were in our inception, beginning with Iraq and now with Afghanistan. Do a lot of work on the Pentagon waste, do a lot of work on redirecting military spending to meeting human needs. Met with Barbara Lee, as we said today, to work on the upcoming appropriations, what we can do there, make sure we don't get another war in Iran in our spare time. So we have an entire team committed to what we call ending wars and occupations, redirecting military spending. The climate issue, as you know, has been at the forefront. Yeah. You wouldn't know it today to talk to anybody that we actually do have a problem, that there really is something there. That's the other key issue, at clean elections, making sure that we level the playing field and we get public financing, overturn Citizens United. Just a short list.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
That's Tim Carpenter, Progressive Democrats of America, pdamerica.org. Get over there right now and check it out. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks as always.